Hey guys, happy Friday. I hope you're enjoying the brain puzzles that I sent out yesterday. Those of you who did it, I'll send out the answers later on today. I thought they were kind of fun. Okay, so today I'm just going to show you how to do one type of problem. You're going to solve a trig equation using the sum and difference identity. So the equation is this. Okay, find the solution of that over the interval of 0 to 2 pi, including both numbers. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to expand both of them. So I have the cosine. Notice how I don't have an angle B in both of them. I have an X. So when I expand them, all right, first is the cosine formula. So it's cosine pi over 3 cosine of X. It's plus, so we're going to do minus sine pi over 3 sine x. Then it's a plus in between. And we're going to do this one. Notice how this one is a minus. So it's cosine pi over 3 cosine x. If this is minus, it becomes plus sine pi over 3 sine x equals 1/2. Wow, that's really long. Okay, now, once we expanded this and this, we could fill in the ones that we know the answers to. I know what the cosine of pi over 3 is. The cosine of pi over 3 is 1/2. I don't know that, so I'll just write cosine x minus the sine of pi over 3 is radical 3 over 2 sine x plus the cosine of that again is 1/2 cosine x plus the sine of that once again radical 3 over 2 sine x equals 1/2. Okay, so after I expanded, then I substituted. Now I'm going to combine like terms. I have a negative radical 3 over 2 sine x and a positive radical 3 over 2 sine x. They cancel out. I have 1/2 cosine x plus another half cosine x. Well, a half and a half gives me 1/2 cosine x equals 1/2. Okay, I'm solving for x. What is the angle that has a cosine of 1/2? Well, if you look, we used it in the problem. Cosine of pi over 3 is 1/2. So x is equal to pi over 3. Don't forget, and so many of you did this on your test, another stupid trig class. Cosine is positive in this quadrant. Cosine is positive in this quadrant. You have to give me all the answers. So it's also going to be 5 pi over 3. Okay, we're going to try one more, and then I'm going to give you some homework problems. It's really not that hard. Again, actually, let me show you the steps. So first, you're going to expand using the formulas. Then you're going to substitute in the values. And then you're just going to simplify and solve. Oh, I wish I had an S word for the expand. Suspend? No, that doesn't work. All right, we're going to try one more. Wait, I need another sip of coffee. We know that coffee makes me smarter. Okay, so here we go. Cosine of x plus pi minus sine x minus pi equals 0. Okay, again, we have an x, so we're going to solve for. All right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to take this identity, it's the sum of cosine identity, and we're going to write cosine x cosine pi This is just from yesterday and the day before, actually lesson one. This is your A and this is your B. This is plus, cosine's an opposite, minus sine x sine pi. This is minus. Now, be careful here. You might have to distribute, so let's just make ourselves a big parentheses, okay, when I expand this. This is going to be sine x cosine pi. It's minus, so we keep that. Cosine x sine pi, I'm running out of space, sorry, equals 0. Okay, now let's put in the values. Okay, what is the cosine of x? We could do that. The sine of x, cosine, and sine. I mean the cosine of pi. Guys, think of the unit circle. Pi is located over here. You're going out, -1, up, nothing. This is your cosine, this is your sine. Okay, a lot of you are still getting confused about your quadrantal angles. All right, so cosine of pi is -1, so technically this is negative cosine x. I wrote it in front just to make it easier. If the sine of this is 0, 0 times this, the whole thing cancels out. Bye-bye, it's gone. Okay, because this is 0. 0 times that is just going to cancel out. This is going to be -1. So this, I'm going to still leave it in parentheses for a second. Negative, if this is -1, this becomes negative sine x, all right? If this is still 0, this is gone, okay? This is 0, 0 times that, it's gone. So equals 0. When I clean this up to be a little prettier, negative cosine x plus sine x equals 0. Now, that is very awkward looking, okay? We have two different functions in the same sentence. This happens a few times, okay? And I'm glad it happened now so I could show it to you. Watch what I can do. I'm going to bring this to the other side. So now I have a sine of x is equal to the cosine of x, okay? Can you think of a situation where you have an angle where the sine is the same exact as the cosine? What was that? You're right. It is pi over 4, the 45-degree angle. We know that its sine and cosine is the same. They're both positive. Okay, so we're talking about it being the same here. But wait a minute. Okay, if they're both the same, you can't be in this quadrant, because in this quadrant only sine is positive, cosine would be negative. We can't be in this quadrant because in this quadrant cosine is positive, sine is negative. It could be both the same here and both the same here. If they're both negative, it works, which is 5 pi over 4. Okay? Make yourself a little notation about this. It comes up a lot, where you're left with the cosine and the sine in the same equation, and you're like, wait, how does that work? But it's the 45-degree angle where the sine and the cosine are the same. Okay? If they're going to be the same like this, it'd be in 1 and 2. If, let's say for argument's sake, all right, let's move this over, it was a negative sine or a negative cosine equals a positive. Well, one of them's positive, one of them's negative. That means you're going to be in the quadrants that I canceled out, where one's positive and one's negative. Okay? Well, actually, in this case, if its sine is negative and cosine's positive, then it's in quadrant 4. Okay, which would be what? 7 pi over 4. And if it was the other way around, a negative, I'm not in this thing, a negative cosine and a positive sine, then you're in quadrant 2, which is 3 pi over 4. All right, guys, I'm going to upload a sheet for you to do. However, tonight's homework is not due until Monday at 9 a.m. Okay, because let's face it, it is Friday. I love you guys. I miss you. I loved all the videos you guys have been making out there. I hope you enjoyed the one we sent out yesterday. Hopefully we'll see each other soon. Bye, guys. Stay safe.